Right, we're on to the last section of Mistveil, the generics and the expansion slots. So starting off, we have the legendary Stonewall Gauntlet. When this defends an attack with greater than its base, opposing attack gets -1 this combat chain. Now, it's a blanket effect, which is nice. So it sort of gets your opponent to maybe break the chain, and then you're able to cash in on some other equipment. But out of the legendary, it's definitely the weakest. Against certain matchups, it's just a win more card, right? It can shut down Ninja, can shut down anyone who wants to go wide rather than tall. So yeah, it's definitely nice, right? At worst, it's kind of 2 block, right? -1 +1 block. At best, you know, could be -2, -3, -4, -5, or it could be break the chain and then reblock with other equipment, and that works out well too. So either way, it's nice, it's fantastic art, right? Want to see this in cold foil? It's going to look fantastic. Also, Yoji, right? This is kind of similar to his equipment. Feels like it is. Is it his gauntlet? Let me know. Then we have the Majestics, Rowdy Locals. If this is defended by an action card, this gets +2. When this hits a hero, discard a card. If you do, they discard a card, right? So got nothing left that you care about in your hand, play this. If they don't block it, because, you know, it's only 2. If they block it and it's a 4, well, you've gotten value out of the hand anyway. Otherwise, yeah, you discard, they discard. And that can be very punishing because you draw back, they don't until their turn's over. So I do like Rowdy Locals. Weakest Link does outshine it though. So when this hits a hero, look at their hand and choose a card without base defense. If you do, they discard it and you draw a card. So it does pressure a lot. If they block it, you know, they have something with no block, which is generally a nice value card for buffing, for, you know, adding something, adding some oomph. Otherwise, if you can get it off, the fact that they discard and you draw could be really fantastic. Again, there's lots of ways to give it a go again and probably make it nice and disgusting. After that, we have the Great Equalizer. Next red attack gets +1, yellow +2, and blue +3. 0 cost, 3 block, and yeah, buff up your blues. So that could be nice and useful, right? So this is probably something you definitely save, and then again, you're using it to re-enhance those blues that you've left to the late game. So I kind of feel like it would have served a better purpose if it was blue. In fact, if it was blue, you'd probably have more incentive to play it early, but still, yeah, a very, very strong card, 3 block. Otherwise, you know, enhance the value of your late game blues. Blanche. When this hits a hero, cards they own lose all colors until the end of their next turn, which is definitely impactful here in Mistveil. I don't know how it's going to fare across the board. Then we also have 3 for 6 and 3 for 5. So 3 for 5, it's still a very nice stat point. 2 block kind of lets it down, but no, it's interesting art, right? Definitely not of this area. It kind of feels like it should have had some lore text and, you know, alluded to what's coming next. Then we have the 3 parts of Inline Strike. Emissary of the Moon. When it stacks, you may put a card from your hand on the bottom deck. If you do, draw a card. Then we have +2 and go again. So it's 1 less damage though, right? But the cycle effect, well, cycle in this scenario is a May, meaning that it's a 0 for 4, or if you want, cycle a card, or if you want, +2, or if you want, go again. So again, depending on what use with Inline Strike your class, your hero, your deck is getting, these are definitely a favorable substitute, which is fantastic. I think this is probably one of the best ways they've handled reprinting, but not reprinting, like breaking up the effect, right? Again, it still does have the damage difference, you know, but it has its own advantage to it that makes it, again, worthwhile to substitute, if not in some circumstances be better than Inline Strike without, you know, reprinting or power creeping Inline Strike. Gravekeeping. 1, when it stacks hero, it may bash a card from the graveyard. Seems like a straight new card, but I mean, a lot of classes nowadays have cycle, have ways to retrieve and shuffle and do all that good stuff. So Gravekeeping could be a nice deck card to eliminate some of those pesky cards that your opponent might want to replay. So we're getting a lot of tech cards, which is fantastic. Battlefield Bastion. 3 for 7, so that's kind of nice stats. And then 2 block plus a prevention. So we do also like that, right? In a lot of cases, prevention is better because you know, if you don't need to overblock. So in the case where, you know, you only need 2 block, this comes in clutch and you get the prevention effect. So in those smaller matchups where your opponent's going wide, Battlefield Bastion is, again, another fantastic tech card in the common slot. Fact-finding mission. When this hits hero, you may look at a face-down card in their arsenal or equipment zones and then do what? Nothing. Just knowledge. Okay. I hadn't actually seen this one. Interesting. Again, tech. You know, Ranger. see what arrows coming up. Cloaked, I guess, is kind of cool with it, but yeah, again, it'll have its uses, and that's fantastic. Reprints, unnecessary reprint, right? That's what we hate to see. Like Wounding Blow, it's not that hard. You hit out of the park with so many, right? We could have had something interesting. Or even again, alt art. I wish anytime they would reprint, it would be alt art. But what can you do? Water the Seeds. When this attacks, you next attack this combat chain with 1 or less base gets +1 and go again, right? It's just a nice ninja addition or any low base wide deck, right? So yeah, I think I kind of like it. The blue is 1 for 1 and then +1. I mean, Benji's gonna love it. Okay, then we have Evasive Leap. See, right? You made a stock standard reaction. It works. You could have done a new Wounding Blow. You could have done a new Nimble Strike, right? I'm sure there's a cost basis to damage you haven't fulfilled yet across the board for these just generic pack fillers. But oh well. On to the expansion slots. So, visit Goldmane's Estates. Fantastic card for Victor. Could potentially be a nice big turn of just generating might and then just having the gold to actually find the attack that you want said might for. So it is, a bit of a setup, but it's still blue, 3 block, go again. And, if you have the shield, if you have 1 gold generated elsewhere, it's fantastic. You get the might tokens. If you have more gold than that, you get more might tokens. But also, if it's how you're starting your turn, you get Victor's effect off. So yeah, Goldmane's Estate is definitely nice. Golden Anvil will be an interesting card. There's been no ruling to my knowledge about equipment sets, meaning you can take 3 of the same equipment, meaning that you can get the same value out of your equipment over and over again at the cost of 0 and gold. So potentially, right, really niche pieces like reflector bolters, if you want to do weapons. Is that the correct name? I hope it is, right? You can get a new one. You get a new one at the price of 1 gold. So yeah, super use out of it. Even just weapons. Talishare being floated over and over again could be cool. Doesn't have go again, but it's blue, 3 block, so yeah, you can cycle it away till you actually need it, and then you just need the gold token. So shouldn't be too hard with all the wager mechanics. So I do like Golden Anvil. Supercell, again, my big gripe is that it should just ended with Construct, so that Singularity could run this, even though they didn't care about hyperdrivers, just as a way to get Singularity out of the banish zone, because it does feel bad if that's what you're trying to do, and then you accidentally boost it away or somehow banish it. But for max, it is a fantastic card with an okay point, right? So 1 cost, put 1 steam counter on 1 target hyperdriver and create 1 with 1. That's okay. 2 cost, put 2 steam counters on 2 hyperdrivers. Fantastic. Create 1 with 2. All right. And then 3, put 3 counters on 3 target and create 1 with 3. That is fantastic. Now you need the target, right? So this isn't a May. You have to have the correct amount of hyperdrivers to pay the cost. But still, it's a great way to maintain your hyperdrivers and get continued payoff, and it should really help improve his deck a ton, just again by 1 card, and that's the point of the expansion slot. So that is a fantastic hit. Then we have the Arcane Barrier armor set, right? What is it? So it's put 1 Mechanologist action card from the banish zone on top of your deck, gain 1 cost less to play an attack action, any attack action too, not that you not run Mechanologist as Mechanologist. Then deal 1 damage is probably the most lackluster, and then the legs next attack action you play this turn gets boost. So you could boost a CNC and give it go again, which is a scary thought. So yeah, it is a nice set, and obviously they desperately needed Arcane Barrier, especially if we are going into a Arcane set, which, fingers crossed, it's either going to be, in my opinion, all Wizard or Wizard Runeblade. I can see them doing all Wizard with a few different playstyles. That'd be very interesting. Curious how they'd mesh Wizard Runeblade. Well, God, could be Wizard Runeblade Dromai. And you have those 3 caveats, and maybe we go with a more arcane focused illusionist, which would be interesting, right? Again, just a straight up pop your dragons, or anytime Phantasm do arcane or something like that. So that could be cool. But yeah, arcane definitely seems like it will be the last set of the year. Long Draw Half Glove. Instant destroy this, put 2 cards from your hand or arsenal on your deck to gain +4, right? That's pretty fantastic. Again, if you brick, if you just have a bad draw, a +4 to your arrow instead of doing what Ranger is currently doing with all the buff cards is definitely good. So yeah, it's fantastic. It has upside if you want to run like 3 of a kind. 3 of a kind could be 1 card to pitch and 2 cards to buff through this, so that could be an interesting combo, right? It's a good card. Battle Worn as well, so you can block with it and then save the effect for when you really need it, right? I think +4 really puts it over the edge. If it was +3, maybe it'd be a little bit on the weaker side because, you know, it's 2 cards cycle away, but +4 is definitely really nice. Murky Water, definitely my standout card for the set just because I really fell in love with Trap Tide. So if this has a name counter, +1 dominate. When this hits, you may bash face down 3 traps from your graveyard. If you do, choose one at random, put it into your arsenal. Any trap recycle just seems pretty gross in Riptide, right? There you can just fatigue and stall out and try and trap your opponent in the correct matchup. It's just absolutely punishing. In certain matchups, it's okay, and in other matchups, it's just horrible, right? Illusion is probably one of the weakest matchups, but, you know, if you're a ninja, God, can you punish? So, yeah, the fact that you can recycle traps, it just replaces nourishing in that type of build. It's really good. Kindle. Need I say more? Amp 1 and no cards in hand, draw a card, right? Load up 3 of them and have an insane turn. It's instant, so you can play all 3 and then resolve them one by one. Use Klloo to get rid of the card that you drew, right? If you're running, you know, mainly a blue, or, you know, play the cards that you drew. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Obviously, it has the one weakness of being a dead card in Klloo, but, you know, if we're getting wizards, Kano's not the only one. And we've seen the convention Blitz Wizard, which will never come to Classic Constructed. I can never see that being pulled over. That effect is just insane, right? I mean, if Aether Wildfire was ever banned, maybe, and they print more X cards, but yeah, that's a scary one. Look into it if you haven't seen it. Then we get Dust. We already went over it. Again, super disappointed. I wish it was a light card, Bolton or Illusionist, or just light in general would have been happy. It definitely seems like, you know, it was made before Dromai was going to LL, and that's the unfortunate circumstance, right? I mean, it could, again, hint that we're getting Dromai in the last set of the year, but I don't think so. I think, you know, it'll be a little bit, I think it'll be most likely just a basic set with just, you know, no subtype, and then maybe, you know, next year, it seems like we'll go 2, 1, as in, so, oh God, I said that really poorly. We go talented, non-talented, talented, non-talented, and, you know, that cycle continues, because supplemental does seem like it's done away with. History packs are no more as well, so I do think they'll just go back and forth between them, right? And they'll either do a single class set, or they'll do a tri-class set. And again, you know, it'll probably continue the pattern of try, sub, single, sub, try, sub, single, and so on. Okay, then we have Shadow Realm Horror, which is a very interesting card. Not a big, well, Levia Brute. I do enjoy New Brute with Savage Sash, and the fact that it will stick around for a lot longer. God, both KO and Reiner, right? Especially in Blitz, are atrocious with that. But as an additional cost, play this, banish 3 random cards in your graveyard. If 1 or more with 6 or more are banished this way, it gets +1. 2 or more, go again. 3 or more, you may play a card banished this way this turn. So that's definitely interesting, right? I mean, if you had the action points and the setup, you go Shadow Realm Horror into Shadow Realm Horror, which is a cool concept. Might be worth looking into in terms of a combo, but I think it's quite a strong card. It allows you to fill up your banished zone too, so you can get some of the other cards that you can play. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, oh God, this and Sash. I didn't think about that, right? Because it's still Brute. It's still 6, 1 cost. Go again, +1, so 1 for 7. I mean, yeah, that could actually be an OTK. It's definitely a Blitz OTK, thinking about it. I might look into that. Because even just getting the 2 off, right? So yeah, go again. Okay, then Eloquent, Eulogy, Rune Gates, when the combat chain closes. If a hero has lost life this turn, so if you swung with Flail, if you've paid Blood Debt, sorry, if I'm getting that wrong and Blood Debt is end, correct me, right? But again, the fact that either you or them lost life, you get the Eloquence token, I think makes this really strong. And it's only 1 rune chant, right, to make it free. So 0 for 4, block for 3, and getting the Eloquence token is definitely going to be super strong. Oh, you know what? Blood Debt tells me right here. At the beginning of the end phase, yeah. So unfortunately, no, Blood Debt can't trigger this, but I mean, Flail triggers it, and I'm sure there's some other ways to consume or lose, or should they use life during your turn. So I do think this is a nice strong card. Again, in the right matchup, you can just ping with Rune Chance, and then that meets the condition. All right, so there's Mistveil. I do think overall it is the strong, well, since Tails, it's the strongest set, right? The 3 heroes are definitely Tails level strength, but overall I think it knocks it out of the park in terms of limited, knocks it out of the park in terms of legendaries and majestics. Yes, they're are definitely going to be standout cards and not standout cards, but overall feels like the base power level has creeped up a little bit. Now, it being in a talented set, I think is okay, but it'll be a curiosity to see what we get next, right? Wizard could potentially just take this game in a whole new direction, right? If they make Wizards, you know, equivalent to Enigma, then you have the normal play style, right? That Flesh and Blood was sort of built upon, right? And then you have Wizard and board states through Illusionist, and you have that trifecta. And I really hope, you know, it becomes sort of like a pyramid where one beats the other. And, you know, Arcane and popping stuff and doing all that damage could definitely, you know, crush Illusionist. Illusionist could then crush Normal, and then Normal could beat down Wizards, right? That could be fun. Either way, excited to see what comes next, and still super excited for this release. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.